right, man. We got a lot to get into, like I said, on this
Dangerous
show
working
because
man.
the entire coaching staff is in place, and there's a lot that can come from this Chicago Bears staff. There's this team that they have put together, dare I say, is a top 3 coaching staff in the last 40 years that the Chicago Bears have had.
Just got hot.
I am excited by what we're seeing, and maybe I'm going a little bit too far. I don't know what's up with your soundboard, dog. Every time a show starts, the soundboard dies.
It freaking
Yeah, it don't matter.
No, it just worked.
Oh boy,
All right, keep it going.
let's see. No. All right, don't worry about it. This is one of the best coaching staffs. That the Chicago Bears have assembled. Now, on paper.
On paper.
No, Pat. The Super Bowl is going to Soldier Field.
You calm down.
Oh, sorry.
You put
Let's calm
put your Ben Johnson away.
Oh boy, jeez.
You take your Ben Johnson off the table.
Yeah.
But no, man, listen. I think there's a lot to be excited about from this team. There's a lot that I'm excited about from this team. I think there's a lot of good happening here. The real question is, what kind of transformation will we see from Ben Johnson and his coaching staff heading into next season? I think that this is a great start for you to be at. But what do we really expect to see from these 3 gentlemen right here, Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, and Declan Doyle?
Ooh, Declan Doyle. That's a strong name. I actually meant to tell you that earlier. That is a very strong name. It sounds
I don't know if that's a strong name.
That's a law firm.
Declan Doyle?
Declan Doyle. Yeah, Declan and Doyle. Come on now.
Doyle.
I don't know how strong I feel on that name.
Doyle's one thing.
He has, you know how elite he has to be at his job for him to get a job at the next level? Like to get that next step? Like there's no way you pulling up with I'm Declan Doyle. I want to be the head coach of your football team. You go back.
I thought it was a strong
you go back home.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
I think what we have is it reminds me of a semblance of, dare I say, like the Nagy with Fangio kind of setup. Supposedly a strong offensive mind, but we have a strong defense. Now, Fangio is a holdover from John Fox, but we're bringing in a guy that has a pretty good system. I mean, when you look at what Dennis Allen has done, I think since like 2017, I think he was there before with Peyton, where they were ranked last, but then it went from like a top 10 in points. 2017, they were number 10. 2018, 14th in points, 13th in points in 2019. Then they made a big jump in 2020, 5th, 4th, and 9th. So like they've been in 8th in 2023. So like 10s. They've been top 10 for the last few years. So it's like I'm very encouraged that we have a DC. I mean, the thing is, we're not worried about the defense.
Never have been.
We never
not really.
That's
not been our calling card. Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, the biggest thing is Ben Johnson bringing in a coaching staff. For me, what I like is that he's bringing in 2 former assistant head coaches and also a former head coach in Dennis Allen. So there's a lot of guys that have some experience that can help that. Because to me, that was my knock. We're getting a rookie head coach. I would prefer that he brought in someone with some experience. So to see that they're doing that, I mean, the fact with the other guys, Randall L. and
Al Harris,
JT Barrett.
I like all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
now,
JT Barrett a solid bring in too.
Yeah, so now even with Declan Doyle, like, I mean,
feels like he wasn't playing that long ago.
Bro, crazy, right?
JT Barrett.
He was just playing.
That name a long time ago.
Because that was with
that was right before Justin, right?
Yes.
No. Because that was when they had the 3. No, because it was
12 gauge was there when it passed.
Because it was
Deshaun Kaiser.
So
he's
no.
Dwayne
Haskins. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah.
No, but it just I like how they're putting this staff together. Personally, I think that this is a young mind staff. And I'll go as far to say this, and I've said this on a couple of shows here. This reminds me of Mike Holmgren's staff. When you looked at Mike Holmgren's staff, you wouldn't have thought that John Gruden would end up being anything. You wouldn't have thought that Andy Reid end up being anything because you look at Holmgren, Dennis Green. You look at Holmgren as the play caller. You look at Holmgren as the guy who's putting all the plays together. Realistically speaking, while yes, he is putting some of that out there, Andy Reid's behind him, drawing up plays that are getting into the game plan. You've got John Gruden behind him, putting in plays that are getting into the game plan. All these names, right? Like that is what it feels like the Chicago Bears are building here. And that does excite me. Now it has to play out that way. You can have all the excitement in the world. But when I heard a Declan Doyle name kind of come through, that was the thing I thought, oh, this guy must be putting in plays that Sean Payton is using, and that's why
Doyle?
Sean Payton keeps bringing him around. Yeah.
Doyle?
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe it's the first name that's strong. A Declan.
What's wrong with the audio?
Are they saying we're not up?
Test. I don't
Fading
know.
in and
It
out.
looks good there. I mean, where's StreamYard at? Did you switch it to StreamYard?
Pat and Joel's mic are intermittent.
Pat and my mic. Where's StreamYard? Are we in here?
Well, that wouldn't matter in there. We going from OBS to there.
Right. So check one.
Is it everybody's mic?
I don't know. Maybe we need to be boosted a little bit. I don't know. But I think let us know if it messes up. But to me, I do think that the one thing for me is that
noise gate too high.
This team has an opportunity to get things fixed quickly. Now it's about getting the talent in the building.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that just looking at this coaching staff in total, this coaching staff to me brings accountability, trust. They know what the work looks like. You talk about Randall Will, you talk about Dennis Allen, Joel just pointed out the numbers. Even Doyle, like Ben Johnson has said, yo, we need fresh minds in the building, people that's willing to work hard and a lot of long nights. So he's going to be working side by side with him. I feel like if they show that they're continuing to put in the work, the players are going to buy the players are going to buy in off of that. I think that was kind of the knock on the previous coaching staff, where it was like, okay, well, we're implementing all this stuff in training camp and it looks nice, but you're not holding us accountable when it comes to the regular season. Now I'm looking at you weird. So it's like they all know what that looks like, and I'm really interested to see how Ben Johnson, kind of delegates those roles, like he said. But no, I'm definitely all for this coaching staff, because if he feels like the Bears are a sleeping giant, like he says, maybe they can, dare I say, get up to a 10, maybe a 9-10 win team.
I got a long way to go before I start talking about 9-10 wins. But JC, what's your thoughts?
Hey, they were in a lot of games this past season. I mean, that might be a reality. But I mean, like you mentioned, it starts on paper, right? It looks good on paper. You got the super staff that you wanted. Outside of a few names, you thought that maybe. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would have liked the Bobby Slowick if we were talking about maybe bringing somebody in with a little bit more OC experience or just experience, period. But I do like the Declan Doyle approach, because that might be a guy that is kind of like an understudy of Ben Johnson. Maybe Ben Johnson sees something in him as being like a bright mind, which is what a lot of people are saying around the league is that he's one of the brightest minds and up-and-coming minds. So even though he's 28, this is a guy that actually has been under some really good tutelage. Obviously, Sean Payton. A lot of these guys have come from the Sean Payton tree, which is what I like. That's why I'm not scared about that hire particularly. But overall, like you mentioned, I already said, the words that we brought out, experience, trust, mainly winning also. Some of these guys, even as players, have won Super Bowls. Antoine Randall as a receiver won the Super Bowl with the Steelers. Al Harris has been with the Packers. He was a demon DB. Gave us headaches a lot when he was in his prime. There's a lot that you love about this staff, because overall it's completely different from what the Bears have ever done in the past. And like you mentioned, it's probably one of the tops, not only in the division. I think it's one of the tops in the league, but we have to see it actually come to fruition on the field.
Yeah, no, for sure. The big thing now is just starting to get some of those players in, starting to see, how are they going to be able to develop some of this team? How are you going to go about, putting these guys in position? But like I said this morning, you got the skins on the wall. You've got those guys who are the top name guys. You've got those guys who have brought in some of these great players that we have around the NFL and developed them. I look at Shea brought this up today, right? You look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's a 5th rounder, but the talent maybe was always there. But you got the most out of it talking about an Antoine Randall. But even a guy like a Tim Patrick. Ooh. Tim Patrick nobody wanted Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted like nothing to do with him. They were like, we're good. We're very good.
Yeah.
You brought Tim Patrick into Detroit. He's an integral part of what they do every single week in and week out. Like, that is a to me, finding guys like that, seeing a skill set and saying, I can develop that guy, having that in the building will be good for the Chicago Bears. I think that's the part that does excite me most about this team, and hopefully the part that ends up playing the most. Drew, what's your thoughts on this coaching staff coming together?
Actually, I think I would agree with most of the people on the panel that they have experience, which every rookie head coach needs is experience. So if you got experience, then that allows you to an easier transition into the potential of the 10-win season coming up, because they don't have to start from scratch, as they say, taken down to the studs. They start with a little bit of experience to help them through some of the grinds of the offseason, so they can get the ball rolling and start good, game one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there on 10 wins just yet.
You know what? Somebody,
hey, look, if we get the 7, I'm in a better spot.
I like C. Ruby's comment. He says, "I'm I was a 4th round pick, but point still stands." That's our biggest thing here. We're not developing players. If you have good coaches with a good coaching staff, are we able to find those 3rd, 4th round, 5th round type guys that can actually get coached up to be better players? We're not doing that. When's the last time we've had multiple Pro Bowlers? I mean, not just 2, like 5 or 10. Like, we hadn't had that for years. So finding
18
early
18.
It's been a while.
2018, Khalil Mack was a Pro Bowler,
but we didn't develop him.
Well, I mean, you talking about multiple Pro Bowlers.
No,
I just said multiple Pro Bowlers.
I'm saying developing guys that came like 4th, 3rd rounders. Like Olin Cruz is a prime example of a 3rd or 4th round pick center, and he basically parlayed that into pretty much a Hall of Fame career.
Well, that actually is what you're getting in a couple of these guys that you picked up. Dennis Allen, because I mentioned there was a list that was shown where Dennis Allen was a part of drafting some of these names, including Khalil Mack, Von Miller, Shelby Harris, Marcus Davenport, Trey Hendrickson, Brian Brzee, and a couple other names. But I mean, you look at some of those names; 2 of those names are Hall of Famers, or will be. Like that's really, really good.
He doesn't really count as much. He was a top 3 or 5 pick or something.
Who's that?
I'm saying
you still got to
develop them. You still got to pick them. You still got to develop them. Yes, guys are good.
They're supposed to be good. I'm talking about the 3rd, 4th.
I mean, Chase Young was the 2nd pick in the draft, and like he still hasn't panned out.
But then with that mindset, we would say Ben Johnson didn't develop Caleb Williams. He was supposed to do that.
No, I'm not trying to make an argument for that. I'm saying that those guys, we want them to hit. They were coming out of college. They're supposed to be good. Caleb's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
We just want to be
rounders
better.
Usually, yeah.
My point is that when you get the diamond in the roughs, is all I'm saying. Imagine, let's just say that Valus was still here with this coaching staff. Does Ben Johnson make him a better receiver? So. I don't know. I'm just saying, but it helps.
What if they bring Valus back?
No need. I got the tape. I have the tape. But it goes to Pat's point though. I mean, it's basically like if we go by that logic, you basically saying Ben Johnson was basically supposed to do what Ben
Johnson just showed up. It was supposed to happen.
Ben Johnson just showed up. I think there is a thing where you do have to go out and Caleb was the number 1 pick. He still got things he got to work on. You gotta develop that. It was the same thing like Baker Mayfield, who was Jared Goff. To a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like
you took Jared Goff from a dude an MVP candidate.
And then it's like,
he helped unlock his potential.
Yeah,
just the guy
to but that took work. He looked at it and was like, oh well, Jared Goff works better with a great run game and play action. Yeah. Oh, we need to keep doing that. Like, it takes work, but Ben Johnson's done that.
I think all 3 of them are good talent evaluators.
Yes. That makes me feel good.
Absolutely.
That makes you tingly.
Yes.
That gets me tingly.
That is
tingly.
Now that's the point. You don't want to miss on your number 1
That's when you priest off the steak. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? A little marinade. That's got me marinated.
Oh, boy.
But the point is, even with that, you pick the number 1 guy, like your 1st round picks need to start off and they need to play immediately.
Yeah.
So if you can pick the right guy versus us back in the day, Kevin White, bust. Couldn't do nothing. How many guys have we had?
West Virginia
kept getting hurt. Yeah,
we drafted a hurt offensive lineman in the past.
I think that was like the first draft that I actually covered. I just remember being like, This dude runs straight a lot.
You didn't like the pick. He had no tree.
I was like, he runs straight a lot.
He had no branches on
his
tree.
whole game is just straight.
I wanted Todd Gurley that year.
Straight.
And I don't know if
he went before us.
I think
he went before we could get him.
And another draft.
That's when running backs were more valued.
I don't know about that.
And then we messed up on Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was the
Aaron Donald was supposed to.
Aaron Donald was right before.
It was
us.
right before.
I still remember
one
that.
pick before
because that's who I wanted.
Could you imagine
right
being
before us? Yeah. No, that was a big draft.
God, that would have made me.
Another thing I mentioned too. I love the Al Harris pickup because again I mentioned this too, and I've been out on this guy, but since we still got him here, Tariq Stevenson obviously has talent, but it looks like Al Harris could develop him. And we mentioned that there was a video that came out that showed that Al Harris already on the job has sent this guy to some sort of training regimen where he's trying to make him a ball hawk and get more interceptions because he's developed the likes of a Deron Bland and Diggs over in Dallas. He already has that track record as well.
You know what's crazy? He does remind me of a Diggs. Like if you were going to develop him into something, because Trayvon Diggs get cooked all the time.
Yeah, no, he be getting cooked.
Like every year, like you see him just be like, stay in front of that.
But then he gets tons of interceptions.
He gets a lot of interceptions. Like he get cooked a lot, but he will take that football away. So if you're gonna get cooked, you might as well get picks.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, what is the scheme going to be? Is it a traditional 4-3 for Dennis Allen?
You probably have the thing. You probably have a 43 nickel, or 42 nickel. But I think the thing that because the players you've drafted speak more to a 42 nickel.
So it's him acclimating.
That's why Kyler Gordon's on the field. You had the extra nickel.
Yeah, I got you. But if they keep that though.
But I think you keep that because that allows you to do more combination fronts. You can go with a kind of a 3-4 set at times if you want to, versus going 4-3 continuously. You can have a ton of disguise coverages in a 42 nickel. It allows for that nickel blitz to live. And I think that with how Dennis Allen is, he's going to be a very aggressive type of a defensive coordinator. He's going to really try to get after you. I think that just makes sense.
So that means
I remember a lot of cornerback blitzes from him.
Yeah. Yeah, so like
he did well with Honey Badger, right? Honey Badger was out there.
Tyrann.
Before he went to Kansas City, if I'm correct.
Tyrann was with
Washington.
What's the
guy? Marshawn Lattimore.
Marshawn
Lattimore.
Oh, yeah.
No, listen, there's a ton of opportunity here for the Bears. They have the players in place to make this work. It's just about addressing some of those pieces and making those pieces work. You know what I mean? Like I think that it starts with the coaching staff. I'm glad that you got it right, and I think we all feel good about the staff, pause. But the most important thing now is for you to get the players in place to make the staff worthy. Because I've said this. I think Flus is a bad head coach.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But
good DC.
He's probably a better head coach if there's an offensive line in place. If there's a defensive line in place. Who, Flus? Flus got hired on in Dallas.
Yeah. I like
I'm not telling you he's a great head coach in that situation, but he's probably better if his quarterback isn't sacked 48 or 68 times.
Well, you should hire a better OC and get a better line. I like Ken Burke's comment. He said Dennis Allen's 4-3 wide. He likes his defenses in big body. Crash the edges. Don't see Austin Booker fitting the scheme.
Yeah, Austin might fall out. Out of the scheme.
Or you convert into a linebacker.
Good pickup.
Or
you got to figure out a way
to make him a linebacker.
Austin Booker is a blitzing linebacker.
Yeah.
Woo.
He's 6 foot.
Yeah, you might need to find a way to put him on the field. That's a talent. That's a talent.
He's got speed.
Yeah.
But I think here's the thing that I like about Dennis Allen, right? We're sitting here talking about, well, he doesn't fit his scheme, but he's got a scheme that he has adapted players to.
Yep.
He's got a scheme that he can adjust to make fit the talent. That's the one thing that we don't see.
He had a similar person at the Saints. I can't remember his name, but it was a third
Cam Jordan.
No.
I know you talk the linebacker you talking about. You talking about Demario Davis.
Demario Davis.
Yes, that reminds me. Of
is it Demario Davis?
Yes.
Welcome, Joe.
Yeah.
No,
he used him and he was efficient.
Yeah. No, I think that's the thing.
He also had Anzalone too, by the way.
Alex Anzalone, yeah. He has fit his scheme to work for the players that have come in to make sure that their talent accentuates. That's what I like about Ben Johnson. That's what I like about Dennis Allen. I don't know anything about Declan Doyle. You know what I mean? Like, but
I wish I had his
I can't
job.
sit there and tell you anything.
He just got to bring the donuts.
By the way, has it been found out that he's not Ditka's?
I don't know if he's Ditka's nephew or not. I saw that in one report. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Okay.
I know somebody that knows his family. because they went to Iowa, and you remember the whole like
his
dad at Iowa thing.
I saw some
which,
tweets about
by the way,
overblown.
listen, Dan Bernstein.
Oh my God, I wouldn't go say it. But
stop being an old idiot.
Oh
bro.
my God,
stop being an old idiot.
Jeez,
like you're retweeting an article to try and put down Declan Doyle because his dad, who probably is or maybe is, I don't know 100%. I've never met the man, but if he is, that he had racist remarks and sexist remarks and all this stuff, you ain't got a clean record out here, my guy.
One doesn't equal the other.
And
like, come on.
We didn't hire his dad. We hired him.
The sins of the father.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, now I get it. If we get into practice one day and I'm sitting there at training camp and he's the OC and he's like, listen here, Yanwer. Whoa.
Hey, all right.
What are you doing with that rope?
If he goes from Jesus, Joe. Listen,
we ringing up the DBs.
If he goes from Declan to Declan real quick, you know what I mean? Like,
Declan.
Joe called him that.
I didn't know how his name was.
You know, then we can have that conversation. But it's idiotic to have that conversation until it's time to have that conversation, bro. I saw that come across my timeline. I was like, bro, retire, bro. If I ever, I congratulate you for getting to that age in radio. But if I ever get to the age in radio where I'm just sharing stuff and just sounding bad, like, all right, bro.
Wait, I'm uploading the clips to Pat. And I'm like, I don't even know how to say this dude. I'm like, what's it? Declan? That's all I did.
Declan.
I didn't know how to even say. I didn't bother looking him up. I said he'll write it in there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, LRC or is that LBC? You know what I mean? If I'm at training camp one day and he's like, come here, boy.
Mr. Lincoln says,
put your glasses back on.
Hey, man, 233 in the chat, 39 likes on the video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Let us know your thoughts on the coaching staff. What kind of impact do you think that they will have on this team year one? Before we get out of this segment, I will say this. I'm not saying 10 wins.
What are you saying?
I will say that this Bears team will be one of the most competitive teams in football.
I will say that.
That may fall one way or the other, right? Competitive wins don't always mean you're going to have a winning record.
I'm going to go with 10.
But this is going to be one of those. I'll say this is going to be one of those teams that nobody wants to play week in and week out.
You don't think we're going to gain 4 wins because Flus blew 4?
Sure did.
Let me tell you this.
Coach did blow a few.
Here's the thing.
That's 10.
Here's the thing. Logically, I can sit here and tell you 100% Flus blew 4 if you just do this one time, a couple times a game. Yeah, I mean, usually in the the most important moment.
Now
you take that time out. I take that time out. Dang good time out. I would love for a head coach to call timeout. I would agree with you that Ben Johnson should be allowed to call it.
And now it's like 17. Wow.
Yeah.
It must be soundboard work.
You just go bed press all of it.
It was just working.
You should have turned it off.
Slam all of them.
Miami Joe does cocaine. Be careful. I'm scared of this guy. You got to watch him. I think this team will be a team that nobody wants to play next year. That is my prediction. Whether that turns into 10 wins, whether that turns into 12 wins, whether it turns into 7, I think the team improves and they're moving and they're one of those teams that mugs come out of it and go, oh God, we got the Bears next week. This sucks. I will say that, and we'll see what that ends up turning into in the long run. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. We're gonna keep this thing moving along. You want to punch it again? You look like you want to punch it again.